Have you ever been told you're just too nice? Or maybe you just feel it deep down, that constant exhaustion from trying to keep everybody happy all the time. Okay, so let's dive right in, because we're going to break down how to finally stop people-pleasing and start living a life that's a whole lot more honest.
Wow. Yeah, this quote, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not about being a bad person at all. It's about a really deep-seated fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of rocking the boat, fear of not being liked. So this isn't really about kindness, it's a survival tactic.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack the people-pleasing trap itself. Then, we'll look at the hidden costs, what it's really doing to you. After that, it's all about action, shifting your mindset, building a practical toolkit, and finally, learning how to embrace the change. It's a clear path from why to how.
So let's start with the why, because it's absolutely crucial to get this. People-pleasing is not a character flaw. It's not who you are. It's a learned behavior, a strategy that, let's be honest, probably served you really, really well at some point in your life.
And this is such a powerful way to look at it. It's not a personality trait, it's a strategy. Your brain basically learned this simple equation. If I keep everyone else happy, then I'll be safe. The problem is, that strategy tends to stick around long after it stopped being helpful, and it starts to come at a huge, huge personal cost.
Which, brings us to the real price of being too nice. Because on the surface, it feels so much easier to just go with the flow, right? But the long-term bill for that, man, it is incredibly high.
Do any of these hit home for you? That bone-deep exhaustion from trying to be everything to everyone? That feeling of being totally invisible, even when you're doing so much for others? And that quiet, simmering resentment that just starts to build up? It's so ironic, because the very thing you're doing to keep relationships intact can actually end up poisoning them from the inside out.
Okay, so you might be thinking, great, I get it. Now what do I do? Well, here's the thing. The fix doesn't start with what you do. It starts right up here in your head. We have to fundamentally change the questions we're asking ourselves.
This right here, this is a game changer. For so long, maybe your whole life, the default question has been all about what's happening out there. Do they like me? Am I making them happy? The goal is to shift that focus inward. The new question, do I respect my own actions, puts you back in the driver's seat. Your own self-respect becomes the compass, not somebody else's approval. And this is the very first step in practice, just awareness. Start noticing the difference in your own mind between thinking I should do this versus I actually want to do this. That tiny little gap between should and want, that's where all your power is. That's the moment you get to choose.
And now for the big one, conflict. The thing we've been running from our whole lives, right? People pleasers tend to see any kind of conflict as this catastrophic failure. But we have to reframe it. Healthy conflict isn't a threat. It's actually a necessary, normal part of building honest, respectful relationships.
Okay, so we've been working on the mindset. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about the actions you can take. It is time to build your toolkit with some real-world skills you can start using today.
I mean, just look at the difference. The old way is this long, rambling, apologetic justification, right? You're basically trying to manage their feelings about your no. But the new way, it's simple, it's clear, and it's respectful. To them, and more importantly, to yourself. You don't owe anyone a dissertation. That doesn't work for me. Boom. That's a complete sentence.
And here's another huge habit we need to break, the pointless apology. We apologize just for taking up space, don't we? Sorry to bother you, as if your presence is an inconvenience. What if you just didn't apologize? Shifting to something like, do you have a minute? It's a small change in language that sends a huge signal to your own brain that you have a right to be there. So, if this all feels like a lot, let's just boil it down to 3 key skills. These are your new go-to moves. Number 1, practice saying a clear no. Number 2, start defining and setting your boundaries. And number 3, begin that really important process of reconnecting with what you actually want, not what you think you're supposed to want.
Okay. So as you start actually using these tools, your world is going to start to shift. And it's really important that we're prepared for the new reality this is going to create.
Here's the truth. When you change the rules of the game, not everyone's going to love it. Some people, they'll respect your newfound boundaries, and your relationships will actually get stronger, more authentic. But others, well, others who really benefited from you not having any boundaries, they might resist. They might even pull away. And you know what? That's normal.
And I really want you to burn this quote into your brain for when that happens. It is not a loss. It is clarity. You are simply learning which of your relationships were built on mutual respect and which ones were just built on your willingness to make yourself small. That is powerful, powerful information.
Feeling overwhelmed by all this? Please don't. The key here is to just start with one. Seriously, just one thing. One moment today where you say a clear no. One moment where you state your real opinion instead of just agreeing. Just one small, concrete action is all it takes to start building momentum.
Because ultimately, this whole journey isn't about becoming selfish or mean. That's just the fear talking again. It's about becoming more honest with yourself and with others. It's about finding balance. And most importantly, it's about building a foundation of real self-respect.
So, I'll leave you with this question, and I want you to really think about it. What is one thing, big or small, that you genuinely want, but you've been putting on the back burner to please someone else? Maybe today is the day you start putting yourself back on the to-do list.